Welcome to Next 7, a podcast brought to you by Dr. Suzy Harris of Burlington, Vermont. Next 7 is a dependable guide for building a healthier, more vibrant future for yourself and for your next 7 generations. Through inspiring conversations with functional health and wellness experts, you'll explore the tools, practices, and knowledge needed to achieve whole body health. Please enjoy this episode of Next 7 with Dr. Suzy Harris.
Welcome back, everybody. I'm Dr. Suzy Harris, and I thank you for joining me on another episode of my podcast, Next 7. I'm super psyched today. I've got Dr. Jeff Wulfman back with me here today. How you doing, Doc?
I'm doing great today, thanks.
Awesome. Yeah, I'm really psyched to have you back here today. We had you on the podcast earlier. We were talking about the cloud mat. That's the pulsed electromagnetic frequency mat that helps people recharge their cellular metabolic self so they can start healing if they're stuck in some way. But today, we're going to be talking about some amazing approaches that you're offering your patients. And I want to say also to the community of practitioners who train with you. Are you training them in this protocol?
Yes, I have a mentorship program where I'm training.
Great. So we'll talk about that too. First, though, if there are any listeners who didn't catch the podcast you were on with me before, okay if I give a little background on you?
Sure, go for it.
All right, cool. So you're a medical doctor with over 30 years of experience treating and supporting thousands of people with complex health issues like Lyme and autoimmune and neurological disorders. The list goes on. You also carry a certification from the American Board of Integrative Holistic Medicine.
Correct.
I looked at that and I didn't really know what that meant. So I was like, I'm going to go see what that is. And I loved it. So I wanted to share this with people. Essentially, this board is focusing on integrative holistic approaches, integrating it into healthcare, emphasizing the importance of both individual and planetary health. Yeah. The purpose, transform medical systems toward holistic practices. Support, I loved this part, support physicians in their work and promote their passion for medicine, like getting docs back to loving what they do. Mm-hmm. And recognizing, this also blew me away, recognize unconditional love as a fundamental aspect of healing. What? Like, since when? That's so cool. I love that.
Yeah.
So your certification in that signifies a commitment to excellence in integrative medicine, ensuring that you meet rigorous standards in patient care. Yeah. Sure. So thank you so much again for the work you do in this community. It's such a contribution to the people that need the help and also to other practitioners who benefit from your trainings.
Thank you.
But in a moment, we're going to ask you to get into the details about how you've expanded your practice to incorporate helping people regain their vitality and also the freedom through clearing energy blocks coming from something you call parasitism.
Correct.
Yeah. So you developed a method of care. You refer to it as Quantum Parasite Protocol.
Mm-hmm.
All right. Groundbreaking approach to multidimensional healing. All right, soon.
You looked excited when you said that.
You did?
You did. You said multidimensional.
I do. Healing. Yeah, I love this stuff. This quantum physics is my thing. Love being in the energetics of healing. Like you, it's like such a profound platform for people to really get that base in place so they can respond to the other stuff they're doing.
Yeah, for sure.
So let's get into the details. First, can I ask you, well, let's let you take it. Tell me more about what is this multidimensional approach to quantum parasitic protocol?
Okay, wow.
Yeah, it's a lot.
There's a long story to that, but it's really, I would say it's really kind of the story of my life and working in the healing arts. And, I started very, very physical, of course, right? My traditional Western medicine training was all about the body and the biochemistry and the structure and the physiology. And like that was the focus of all that. And of course, it's important to know those things. So I was like all really into that. And then when I actually started trying to help people, that only went so far. And I was like, okay, there's just more. Like I'm very limited here in what I can do. I mean, obviously, if someone has an abscess or something, you got to lance it and do, what very physical things sometimes occur. But So then I kind of I started learning about mind body medicine. That was like the first sort of holistic thing I learned about. I'm like, oh, it's the thoughts influence the body. And okay, yeah. And then so I was like, and then which is very important, and I'll talk about how I reincorporated that. But then I started up in Vermont, when I used to practice up there, I started seeing that on the physical level, actually, a lot of people were really, really sick and w working with some very complicated things,
Mm-hmm.
chronic inflammatory things and the chronic tick-borne disease and the autism and all that kind of stuff. So I
Mm-hmm.
swung back. This isn't going to get better with thinking positive. There's some physical stuff. So I swung back to that, dove into that headlong. And then I started expanding out again, looking at, okay, because a lot of these people, their body's affecting their mind. Like their thoughts would be scrambled with brain fog and all kinds of things, but it was coming from their inflammation. Like, oh, the body's influencing. The mind was influencing the body. Okay, it's going both directions. And then I
Uh-huh.
started learning about emotional health and trapped emotions and the impact of PTSD on the immune system and all this. Like, okay, the emotions are impacting the physicality, but the physicality is also affecting their emotions because I would see people fly into rages and all kinds of things from the physical stuff. And then
Hmm.
I started learning about how the thought patterns and beliefs were influencing the emotions, which is influencing the body. And
Mm-hmm.
then I was expanding into the energetics, like how our relationships can be positive or negative, narcissist, codependent stuff, how that's all related. And then expanding into spirituality and how our spiritual nature and relationships is. So I started growing this awareness of how all these different pieces are influencing each other. And I was unsatisfied with just going in on one level. Sometimes that occurs, but I saw for a lot of people, unless they looked at all of those levels, really transforming was hard to make, not make happen, but it was hard to occur if you
Uh-huh.
didn't look at the big picture.
Yeah.
So I really see it as two things. It's like it's a new anatomy, like we have our anatomy, like our muscles and our bones, but this is like our multi-dimensional anatomy.
Yeah.
Think about layers of onion. Here's my quote physical body. Just out from that is my what I, etheric or energetic body, and then the emotional, the mental, and then the astral or the spiritual.
Got it.
So
And this is where you came in saying multidimensional healing.
yes, multi-dimensional in that our anatomy is multi-dimensional.
Mm-hmm. It's
This
not
is
just
this is just the
bone.
most dense stuff that's vibrating the slowest, but then
Hmm.
there's a layer and a layer and a layer and a layer and a layer.
Yeah.
And pretty much all the spiritual traditions, talk about this.
And I love the way you said, because I think about how thoughts affect the body, but I have not really, it's obvious, but I hadn't really thought about how the body affects the thoughts. Like if you're feeling inflamed and in pain and all the things, I really hadn't put that together.
Yeah, and these, of course, the emotions and even thoughts can get trapped in the tissue. I imagine, like with body work, sometimes something will click and then they have this whole explosion of emotion that comes from
Yeah,
nowhere
yeah,
or thoughts or so forth.
yeah,
But also like people who are dealing with chronic inflammation and that it very much affects their ability to think and what they think. And
right.
if just like in a little micro, when someone gets a acute illness, a cold, whatever the heck that is, and all of a sudden everything starts getting dark and they start thinking negative and everything starts
Yeah.
looking bad. Like, where's that
Hmm.
come from? Why is that?
Yeah.
So it goes in all these directions.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. Sorry if I interrupted your flow there.
No, no, it's great. I love it. I love conversation. So let's
Cool,
let's
cool.
just converse. Yeah.
Yeah. So tell me more. Let me hear more.
Okay, so as I started getting this awareness of our multi-dimensional anatomy, then I was understood, and a lot of this came from that physical realm initially, in that, for instance, like in the chronic infection world, the chronic Lyme world, whatever, there's this belief like you either have infection or you're sterile. There's nothing in between.
Hmm.
That's not the case.
Like we got rid of the bugs and now
Got
you're
rid
okay.
of this thing and now we're back to sterile. It is not the case. We are an ecosystem. We are not sterile anywhere.
Right.
including in your brain. Your brain has a microbiome, like your blood cells themselves have organisms that live inside of them. So it's actually an ecosystem and a community.
Mm,
It's really like what is the nature of those relationships?
mhm.
So just like in an interpersonal, like you and I,
Yeah.
we could have a symbiotic relationship that is positive, positive, which I feel it is. Like,
Yeah.
I don't feel you
Agreed.
sucking the life force out of me. All right,
Not
so
trying to
that's
do
good.
that.
But so that can be neutral, it can be mutually beneficial, or it could be into a parasitic interrelationship. Same thing with all the
Between
organ
people, you're
between
saying.
people and
Yeah.
also between organisms in me and me.
Okay.
Okay, so for instance, people say, well, is Candida a parasite? And I'm like, well, it depends. What's
Ah.
the relationship? We
Oh,
all we all have Candida in us and on us,
which is
but
the fungal yeast
yeah,
thing.
fungal yeast thing. But is it in balance? Because
Mm,
it does stuff that probably is beneficial. But if it gets like this, where it's overgrowing, aggressive, then it's become, yeah, then it is parasitic because it's taking more than it's giving.
understood.
So then if you apply that same dynamic, because all of life is relational, like we are
Right.
in relation to everything.
Hmm.
You and I'm in relation to the trees that are around me. I'm in relation to the community and my family. I'm in relation with the government, unfortunately. Uh,
Whole nother podcast.
yeah, that everything is relational internally. I'm in relation with my own thoughts. So if I have, oh man, I'm never enough. I just really feel like I never do enough. And I'm not like, that's a relationship.
Yeah.
It is not a healthy relationship. That's
Mhm.
actually parasitic.
Yeah.
So
Like
if
your
I have
inner
that,
critic and your,
yes, if I have that thought form, I'm just never quite good enough, or I have to be perfect or whatever. Does that give energy, or does that take energy away?
Mhm.
That is to me parasitic. So
Right.
the term parasitism is like the adjective describing what's the nature of a relationship.
Understood.
So emotions also. If I have, for instance, persistent resentment that's running
Yeah.
over something or someone, and it just is going, is that giving energy or is it taking energy away? It's extractive.
Yeah.
It's actually taking vitality away. And
So your
this is,
mindset could be a parasite.
oh, absolutely.
Yeah. Yeah. Makes sense to
Absolutely.
me.
Yeah.
Total sense.
And if you think of, and now, there are also thoughts and beliefs, underlying beliefs that can be very uplifting, that are
Mhm.
actually symbiotic and
Yeah.
supportive and all that.
Life-giving.
Yes. And interpersonally, the etheric layer, I mean, you can feel this, right? If you are whatever across the room from someone and you start getting closer and closer and closer and closer, there'll be a point where you feel them before you would quote physically touch. That's your etheric selves overlapping, feeling that.
It's kind of like how you shuffle around through a party, like you may not even have engaged with someone yet to see how that would be, but you feel something and you're like, I'm going to shuffle on over here.
Yes,
Doesn't feel
yes,
like my vibe.
exactly. So
Yeah. Okay.
that's the etheric layer, that next layer out from the physicality. And again, those interactions and relationships can be symbiotic and mutually beneficial, or it could be actually quite parasitic, where someone is pulling, where that energy is extractive. And you can feel this. We used to joke in medicine before I was like, had an awareness of this, that there were always like certain clients, you'd see their name on your list, you're like, oh God, you know, and
Mm,
literally would come out of the room with dropped shoulders and like
yeah.
feeling
Wah,
like
wah.
you just something just vacuumed out your
Mhm.
vitality.
Question
That,
about that.
yeah.
I think about this just in relationships with friends or whoever, family, partners. It doesn't have to be spoken things even.
No, it's on an energetic level.
Yeah. So when you're feeling energy sucked after being around somebody, but all the language was fine, and you're like, what is wrong with me?
Well,
Could
there's
be.
nothing wrong with you.
Thank you,
Yeah.
Dr. Wolfman.
You're welcome. And everybody watching this, there's nothing.
I'm writing it down.
Put it on your refrigerator.
Yes.
Yeah. So, and then, like, for instance, what do I, which leads to some of this, like, well, and then in the spiritual realm, what I call astral, which to me is just a layer of the spiritual realities, that like the first layer.
Mhm.
Um, depending on, I don't know, people's cosmology, but I feel there's a lot going on there. We just can't see it with our eyeballs.
When you say cosmology, you mean like when you were born in relationships to like,
Well, I guess I was referring to that, like, everyone has sort of different belief systems around
ah,
these kinds of things.
understood.
But
Like,
like every spiritual tradition in the world talks about in their own language, the astral realm. It's a realm of entities and non-visible energies and beings and so forth. What some may call demons or whatever, or
Mhm.
attachments or
Mhm.
angels, or
Sure.
that it's a whole other ecosystem,
Yeah.
of which there can be positive relationships or negative relationships,
Mhm.
in that realm as
Mhm.
well. Another thing I started seeing was if people had parasitism on one of those
Mhm.
levels, they had it in others. So for instance, like if I had someone and I was really assessing them like and this is what sort of led to my understanding too, on the physical level. And
Okay.
they're loaded with parasites. And I like try and treat it and would come back, or partially better and come back. I'm like, oh man, this is so hard. What's going on? But as I started looking at these other levels,
Mhm.
energetic, emotional,
Mhm.
mental, spiritual, they had parasitic dynamics at all of them, some more than others. So they're all interrelated. So it's like they would have a parasitic relationship, one or several, like with
Huh.
totally enmeshed with a narcissistic situation or an abusive,
Mhm.
relationship. Trapped emotions that were unprocessed, negative self-talk on the mental level, like all kinds of unusual spiritual stuff going on, feeling attacked in the middle of the night, these kinds of things.
Sure.
So what I realized there are just different expressions of the same energetic, just on these different
So
levels.
are you saying, if I'm catching you, someone who might have a couple layers of this parasitic energetic attachments going on that could express as actual gut microbiome overload of parasites in the gut microbiome? So you're trying to
Yes.
do herbs and get rid of it, and it just keeps coming back. Question for you on this. Do you ever see that the person themselves is acting parasitic? Like they are the ones that are bringing that parasitic energy into the scene?
Yes.
Okay, curious.
Yes.
Yeah.
I
So,
mean, so like attracts like, right? So
mm,
and okay, perfect example. You were
mhm,
talking about you're in a room in like a party or something. You tend to want to go to and like find out and vibe with someone who's kind of on your vibe.
yeah. Mhm.
And if you're next to or with someone that's like, it doesn't
I don't
doesn't
like his vibe.
really, it's not, you go away from it. So if you think about this like in terms of frequency match, okay, that if someone is very parasitic themselves, they are sort of vibing
Mhm.
in that level. And
Attracting like
so other
this.
things that like vibe at that same level, even like physical parasites are like, yeah, this is home. I like the music here. Yeah, let's, it's like a mutual attraction. So
Yeah.
it's a good point because, and in that, I would say I tend to have the belief that like, no, I don't tend, I do have the belief, or
Okay.
I believe it's a knowing that underneath the true self of the person is like not that,
Yes.
even if they are parasitic towards
Yeah.
others.
Some system got hooked up in a way based on experiences or cultural programming or,
Any of those levels,
mhm.
including full of parasites themselves.
Oh.
You see,
Yeah.
I have seen people's total personality shift, literally change who they are,
Hmm.
because you are changing. If you change your internal ecosystem, you are changing who you are,
Yeah, good
because it's
point.
part of who we are.
It's your
So
whole
I have
entity.
seen some bizarre things where this is when I was more just operating in the physical, like really treating like the physical, parasitic stuff. All of a sudden, this person's like, and their spouse is like, "What did you do?"
In a
Like,
positive way, hopefully.
yeah, yeah,
Okay.
like I, and the person doesn't even know what, like a person had this big sort of gnarly beard for 30 years and did life this way and came back in, shaved, changed his job, did all this stuff. And I'm like,
Wow.
why did you do that? I don't know. Just
So total internal cosmology change with all the
yes,
interrelationships of the things you're talking about.
yes, yes. Now underneath that, I feel like the sort of the essence of someone is can be clouded by all these layers. This is like the nature of the work
Hmm.
ultimately is around, to me, is around freedom to
Hmm.
help bring into awareness
Hmm.
on all these 5 layers things that are impairing your fullest true expression without all that contamination and layers and
Hmm.
overlays and so forth.
Yeah, your true light being self.
Yes.
Yeah.
But free will is always
Hmm.
respected. So someone has to want to do it. And it's not,
You mean has to want to become aware and figure out with your help, I'm assuming, how to remove these blocks, remove these incongruent
but
parasitic
they have to
energies.
want to,
You got to want to do it. Yeah, that's a thing.
because it's folks can get very addicted to parasitic relationships,
It's
you
kind of your
know,
identity in a way.
identity,
Hmm.
fear. What if I don't have all this stuff? Then what, all, et cetera, it's all the mind stuff. There are, I would say, other forces and so forth that may not want you to be fully expressed and fully
Yeah.
sovereign and shining and glowing and all. So there's many, there's many layers to
It's very
that.
interesting. Very interesting. So tell me if this is too soon to ask this question. You do this work remotely with people.
Uh-huh.
How are you assessing the situation for someone?
Yeah, so well, in a number of ways. I know, like you, just my intuition's pretty good,
Sure.
so I just tune into people and all that. But
You can recognize
I
certain
can
patterns.
sort of recognize patterns
Hmm. Hmm.
and but I wanted more than just that sort of pattern recognition.
Hmm.
I wanted to quantify, if I take this sort of anatomy,
Yeah.
physical, etheric, emotional, mental, astral,
Hmm.
and we're talking about parasitism. I want to know, well, where on those 5 levels is the most, like how much parasitism is it those on each of those levels for John? Like I
Uh-huh.
want to know that. So I started learning energetic testing, muscle testing, applied kinesiology, whatever these different terms, but it's basically making statements or asking a question and then using my body's own muscle response as a true or false to that statement.
Yeah.
So I'm
Remote.
like, okay, if parasitism is what we're operating under, I want to know how much parasitism, that energetic, is going on at those 5 levels. And I want to measure it and calibrate it. So that's what I do on a scale of 0 to 1,000 is I calibrate how much for John right now.
Yeah.
What's the magnitude of parasitism that is at
Yeah.
the physical, the etheric, the emotional, the mental, and the astral? And I
Got it.
get
And you
and I
used
get numbers
muscle testing to get the answer.
to get the answer. Yeah.
Yeah, I get that.
So then I have, just with those 5 numbers, I have this like, oh, okay. There's like, and it's different for every person. It's amazing. But like, okay, he's got a physical is 850, it's 200, and emotional 600, and mental is 200, and astral's whatever, 150. Like, okay, he's primarily in the emotional and the physical. For
Okay.
someone else, it may be 700 mental, 200 physical, like the etheric is 800. They've got multiple like enmeshed negative relationships, whatever. So it's different for each one. So then that allows us to focus where are the biggest influences. Okay, now we can really focus in on that. And then
Got it. So would you target the highest one first?
generally yes.
Uh-huh.
But so then the second thing I wanted to know was, okay, so if we have these different layers, want to know like how much is in each layer, then like we talked about before,
Yeah.
they're interrelated, right? So one, the mind affects the body affects the mind, the
Mhm.
spirit affects the mental, affects the spirit, this all these different directions.
Yeah. It's intricate.
And what I found in my clients, like I was talking about, in some people, like that one direction would be dramatically powerful, and another person didn't really seem to make any difference.
Oh, interesting.
For instance, like let's just take quote mind body. For some person, if they worked a lot with like mindfulness or working on changing their belief systems or whatever, their
Mhm.
physical body would respond dramatically to that. Whereas another person, they could do all that stuff and the physical didn't really change
Interesting.
at all.
Interesting.
So that is unique to each person. So then what I do is I use the same, measuring calibration technique, and I check each arrow in every direction. So like, okay, if we address the parasitism on the physical level, how much is that going to impact the energetic level, the emotional level, the mental
Okay,
level,
so you
the
can even
astral
ask
level?
that.
So, and I do the same test. I do use muscle testing for that.
Yep.
And so I look at every direction, every layer, and how it affects all the other four. And those numbers are unique with each person. So then I end up with this like awesome to me, because that's how
Yeah.
I
I'm like
basically
getting chills
it's
hearing
a
you.
map of
Yeah.
like, okay, here's the multidimensional dynamic where the
Mhm.
most parasitism is and how they're
Mhm.
affecting each other.
It's like playing Jenga. Ooh. You know about Jenga?
Yeah, yeah.
You got to hit the right spots to get it right.
Yes. So from
Curious, all
that,
the interrelationship. Okay.
yeah, so the vector, so I call those two things the MPI, or the magnitude of parasitic influence. So that's like looking at all five levels. And
Hmm.
then the other one is the vectors of influence.
Vectors of influence. So what's the target to affect the most layers? To start, my guess.
Yeah, so again, so if we look at like this person's map, like okay, the dominant parasitism is in the whatever, the mental, the emotional, and the physical realm, those three layers.
Okay.
And then we look at their vectors, it looks like, wow, the emotional has a 9/10 impact on the physical.
Okay.
And then it's like, okay, so then and then it often mirrors their experience. Like I have worked on my physical self, like I've seen everybody, I've done 17 different protocols, blah,
It's
blah, blah,
that
blah, and it
person.
keeps coming back. I'm like,
Hmm.
well, look here. Your emotional stuff has this like very intense impact on your physicality. So if you only change this but do nothing here, this will like this, then this will go and it will return it to its prior state.
Yeah. So no
So we
matter what
have
you
to
do.
address both of these. Actually, maybe start here
Uh-huh.
and then work here. And
Okay.
also there's these belief systems. Let's look at that. And so we start working on whatever are the key pieces for a given person.
I love it. So kind of what I'm catching that you're saying, when you get those different vectors figured out, and which, like if you were in that case working on that emotional piece first, it potentializes the body to respond to the next thing you might do.
Yes.
They would get results and actually
Yeah.
maintain them.
And I this is part of the principle too. I feel it's important to do this somewhat simultaneously and not in isolation.
I see.
Because let's just take the emotional
Not one at
physical
a time
piece.
kind of thing.
It's heavy this way, but it's also, the vector's also this way. So if you just work on your emotions, I'm going to work on my emotions to heal my body. Okay, that you're going to get some stuff, but work on both because it's going like this. So that's where the
Mhm,
sort
mhm.
of simultaneous work I think is really powerful. But what you're working on is guided by their unique situation, their unique dynamic.
So profound. It's so profound. So I know you have another gig after this one, so I want to make sure I get some
Yeah,
other
we have
questions.
time. Go for it.
Okay, cool. So then what do you do? Like, how are you working with these things?
Yeah, like you, I mean, I've got a number of tools that
Hmm.
I utilize for all five of these. I
Okay.
also have a couple trusted colleagues that I will sometimes refer to work on like a couple of those layers.
Certain areas. Uh-huh.
But I want to speak to the first thing
Hmm.
that I find like beautiful
Mm,
is the transformative power of being exposed to the truth
mm.
and just bringing into awareness that which was in the what you were not aware of, what someone was not aware of.
So things can
So
start moving
I
just by
I
becoming
love this
aware.
because so I'll do the calibrations
Mm-hmm.
and I'll be with someone on the call and they kind of know what it's all about and all that, and I will show the calibrations to them or reveal,
Get
and
chills.
sometimes it's just like,
So much sense.
yes, oh yeah, I get it. Yeah. So there's like this, I feel the truth is transformative in and of itself,
Yeah, the
even if it's
healing
truth you
starts
don't want
there.
to hear, like it's stuff you don't
Yes.
want to believe or whatever, that the truth itself is powerful. So there's this, and it sort of shifts from this confused victim to, okay,
Something
I
I can
see
do.
the lay of the land of my inner landscape and my outer landscape in a better way. And it starts this like, okay, so where like my etheric parasitism is quite high, that rings true to me. Where in my life do I have parasitic engagements
Mm.
energetically?
I hear what you're saying about that. When people feel heard, first of all, like their complexities are not just BS. And then to get an intricate mapping that has, you can see a patient's light go on when they're like, oh,
Hmm.
truth. I
Yeah,
don't know. When you say truth, it makes me feel what you said earlier. When we can uncover the true self, you're getting a
yeah,
little light in there, and that just
hmm,
brings up a vibe.
yeah,
It is your
yeah.
capacity to be who you fully are.
Yes. And in order to have choice and change things, you have to be aware
Mhm.
of what the dynamics actually are.
So powerful.
And I never tell people what to do, or that even with the calibrations, I'm like, look, you are the expert in you.
Hmm.
If this doesn't ring true to you,
I love
fine.
her.
Or but and so there's that piece too. That's like,
Cool.
okay, now I see. Now what are my choices? And then
Hmm.
that's like the next level. And then like if it's more, if there's a lot in the etheric, I'm very well versed in the physical realm. I'm very comfortable with that. Like I will, in that area, I will do additional muscle testing to look at, okay, what parasites, pathogens, toxins are present.
Sure.
I then create herbal and nutritional based protocols to help in that arena.
Yeah.
And then like in the etheric, energetic, okay, let's look at the relationships here. Let's look at, do you have boundaries? And a lot of times people who've been quite traumatized and had their boundaries violated throughout the life have a lot of
Sure.
holes in their etheric. So we talk about working on that. For emotional, I'd suggest like EFT and tapping. I also have someone who does emotion code, which I like a lot, and I'll
Love
refer
that
to
stuff.
that.
Hmm.
The mental belief systems, the sort of software, I'm not enough, or I'm getting into like root programs of fear of lack of security or want for love and approval. I have some techniques to help with that.
Hmm.
And in the astral spiritual realm, we talk a little bit about, again, like establishing your boundaries in that realm and using your free will to declare
Yeah.
what you do and don't want in your space, even in that space.
So you just cleared out by staying.
Stating it's kind of like if this is your house and your property and people are walking into it and dogs are digging holes in your yard or whatever, you put a
Sign out.
no trespassing sign out and say, nope, this is my sovereign space.
Yeah.
You do not have permission to come on here.
Hmm.
And I also have a gifted person who can help people with clearings in that astral space, who very capable there. So It's a process then over time. And this whole quantum parasite protocol, this paradigm we've been talking about, but also the techniques is the apprenticeship, program I have that practitioners who want to learn this, I take them through a 6-month process of teaching them. Not only they have to go through it themselves because you can't
Yeah.
go places you haven't gone,
You got
take
to
people
know
where
it.
you haven't
Yeah.
gone, but also teaching them all the paradigm and plus the techniques and so forth.
Well, you've got my attention. I'm like looking at my calendar real quick. One thing I want to mention, this is just, it's not new, but for some reason it's just coming up in my awareness more lately. The relationship of your inner critic. And
Mm,
Eileen McCusick is an energy body worker here,
yeah,
also with some cool platforms that she works from.
yeah,
And she posted something recently that was saying, your inner critic and your inner victim, like when you can get this part of yourself that's, like you said, puts up the no trespassing just on the inner stuff.
yes.
No.
Yeah, that's the inner ecosystem just on another channel.
Mm-hmm.
In the
Yeah, the constant
yeah,
self-criticism and not
yeah,
laying
so those are
down.
almost like, so if you think of like if the computer almost like software viruses, like
Yeah.
inner critic, oh yeah, you didn't do that right, oh you could have done better, or
Mm-hmm.
whatever. It's like
Mm-hmm.
it almost, although it is ultimately created by you, yes, there are influences and trauma and overlays of other people's belief systems, but you actually internal create that. It's like a
Mm-hmm.
software virus that gets triggered and starts running,
Mm-hmm.
and it's not in your best interest. It takes energy away. It's
Yeah.
parasitic. It's like a parasite in the mental realm,
So hard to
chewing,
get your real
sucking,
friends back.
sucking blood from your vitality.
Yikes.
Yeah. So first you got to identify it. To be
Mm-hmm.
aware, you got to have
Mm-hmm.
awareness to have choice. And then once you become aware, then you start taking steps to,
Yeah.
nope, no, I
Cool.
see you. Thank you. You're probably there to protect me at some point in time, to not stand out and get in trouble, whatever.
Mm-hmm.
Thank you. It's time for you to go now.
I love putting stories in just to kind of make some of this cool stuff you and I are so into relatable for people who are like, this is interesting, but what? Can you share a story, does, of course, confidentiality wise, of something you've seen, an outcome you've seen working with someone with this?
Yeah, thank you for asking. I mean, there's several that come to mind.
Mm-hmm.
Um, one of which, it's interesting because this person has followed me throughout my whole trajectory. It's someone who I've actually worked with over almost 20 years off and on
Mm-hmm.
before I started doing anything like this,
Sure.
but has been sick in various degrees this whole time,
Mm-hmm.
physically, emotionally, some mental stuff. And as my work evolved, I was very much in the physical stuff and helping that way. And we would and then relapse and do great for a year and then come back and only get so far. And then as I evolved into this work, we started bringing these other layers
Mm.
of inquiry. And turns out, with no surprise, that there was big time parasitism in the etheric energetic. There was, which had not been revealed to me a whole lot, a very toxic relationship enmeshment,
Mm.
a lot of trapped emotion, some mental belief systems that were there that are very parasitic. And so as we started working on all of that, along with still the physical stuff, having to look very honestly at the true nature of her life and her life choices and helping her make the connection how we have tried to heal you, quote, physically for
Mm-hmm.
15 years.
Yeah.
Eh, eh, eh,
So frustrating.
Better. Okay. Yes. No.
And a
Yes.
lot of money and time.
Oh, yeah. And hardship and pain and suffering.
Yeah.
It keeps returning to where it was before, no matter what we do physically, because we're not addressing these vectors are like,
Mm-hmm.
your underlying trapped emotion, trauma stuff, the toxic relationship with no boundaries that you are in is
Uh-huh.
impacting your physicality to a significant degree.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and then finally made some hard choices to shift that. And she's like, I am back. I'm back. I can't,
I love that.
and it's like, you told me 10 years ago. I'm like, yeah, I
Yeah.
wasn't ready. You weren't ready, whatever. But
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm back. And so that was like part of the, beauty of the work.
Hmm.
It wasn't until we started working multidimensionally with the same person and the same person
Yeah, same
that
dynamics.
really shifted the needle in a sustainable, meaningful way.
Yeah. What a powerful tool to take a concept that people can know, like you can look and see your relationship might not be good for you, but with this particular process, you get some tangible understanding, is what I'm
Yeah.
hearing you say, which makes it more, you can engage with it on a level that actually gets you ready to take some action about it.
Yes, love that. I agree.
Yeah, because it's like otherwise it's a concept. It could be true, could not be true. I don't know. This month has been great, so I'm
Yeah.
fine.
Yeah.
And you just like can't totally see the connection.
Yeah. Yeah.
This is so cool.
Yeah.
I
Awesome.
love it. Is there anything else you want to say about that stuff?
No, I think we
Okay.
covered it quite well.
I did want to check in about the support that you offer doctors who want to learn this stuff. Is that separate from the mentorship?
I mean, I'm always open to like chatting and brainstorming and things like that.
Hmm.
But if a practitioner really wants to, I mean, if they want to refer someone to me, that's of course, is fine and
Awesome.
welcomed. I do see just like a small number of one-on-one clients. And then, but if they want to dive into this fully themselves, then we would have a conversation around is a mentorship for them. Yeah.
Gotcha. Okay. And then I heard you say earlier, definitely do the work yourself so you have a context for it.
Yeah, I mean that's like, part of the apprenticeship is you doing the
Yes.
QPP yourself. But we do it
Yeah.
very slowly, like each piece, so you fully understand each piece and feel it yourself and so forth. But
Cool.
yeah.
Wonderful. I just love talking to you. We could do this for hours.
Yeah, yeah,
The
we could keep
quantum.
jamming.
It's so good. So for people who want to get in connection with you, I know your website is quantumparasiteprotocol.com.
Yeah.
Okay, and that link will be when we share this podcast with people. The link will be available. And you're also you have a Substack. Is that true? Parasite Liberation?
Yes, but there's nothing in it.
Okay, cool. So to be continued on that.
Yeah, TBC, to be created. But I have the
I
have
love
the
that.
domain. Yeah, parasite liberation, because that's what this is about. And I've started tipping a half of one toe into Instagram. We'll see whether I do
Yeah,
that
yeah, I know
anymore or
what you
not.
mean by
It's a
that.
mixed bag, but I'm also like, if there's a bunch of crap on there, then let's put some non-crap in there. And we'll see.
Yeah, I love it. I love it.
Yeah.
Wow. I'm just so
Your
impressed.
wheels are turning.
They really are. I love all this stuff. And I really am so, I guess, moved by your level of commitment because
Mm,
this is like an endeavor to get in
yeah.
and be so enthusiastically discovering in the inquiry and
Mm.
then having the courage to bring something out to people that's so different and all the things.
Yeah, thank you,
So I
Susie.
really
Yeah.
appreciate you.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Thank you.
Yeah.
It means a
Hmm.
lot to me. This was it really is a manifestation of my life and
Hmm.
my willingness to dive into the multi-dimensional nature of
Hmm.
myself. And
Hmm.
it took a long time. When I stopped working in my office, I took like a sabbatical for pretty much a year
Hmm.
because I knew something else was coming, but I was like,
Yeah.
where are you?
Got to make space for it to
Come
come in.
on, like what the heck? We were traveling in a travel trailer for the winter, and I was laying on the floor of this like travel, who knows, in Mississippi or something. I don't know. And I'm like, come on.
Mm.
I'm
Hey.
ready. Something, nothing, what the heck? And then I just started like, not a total like download, but it was kind of a download. Like I
Hmm.
started thinking about all this, everything we just said, and it's like,
Hmm.
I jumped up, I grabbed a legal pad, I'm like scribbling it
Yes.
down.
It's coming in.
What's a word for that? Oh yeah, magnitude of parasitic influence. Yes, yes. But I want to know how they're all connected. Okay, cool. We're going to call that
Oh
vectors.
my
And so,
God. That's so cool. I love it. And then to get in there and start using it and witness that it really is giving you what you thought it might
yeah,
do. That's so cool.
yeah,
Yeah. And the other thing that moves my heart is that I think we're both on this path in our ways. When we can help people remove whatever is in the way of them realizing who they are as a
Yes, thank you.
spiritual light being. And we get more people's lights on and their body's able to hold this light of who they
Yeah,
are, Christ
yeah.
consciousness, whatever you want to call it.
Mhm.
We are a species who loves each other. We like to take care of each other. We like to make stuff, share stuff. I think
Yes.
when we
Yeah.
have that as a more dominant vibe on the planet, then
Mhm.
we will stomp out. You can't have both this low vibe war, drug addiction, separate to
Yeah.
mindset.
It can't coexist
It can't
in the same.
coexist. So we're tipping the planet, my brother.
Yes. And I would say the light is on.
It
It's
is
just as
on.
clouded and contaminated. And
Yeah,
so
that
we're
light
just
never
like
goes away.
no, it's like, and so we're identifying, well, what are all the covers and electrical cords that are plugged in and
Yeah,
things that are like, okay, let's do that. Let's do that.
yeah,
Remembrance and yeah,
that's it.
cool.
Oh, I love talking to you.
Yeah, it's
So
fun.
thank you again for coming on and sharing this. Anything else you want to share with people?
I just go back to this piece of like, what if you are not broken? There's actually not anything wrong with
Mm,
you. Your body, even though you may feel bad, knows what it's doing. It is trying to reestablish balance. The
yeah.
symptoms you feel are just it doing its darndest to deal with a very difficult situation.
Hmm.
What if your negative belief systems, I'm not enough, or don't do that, or you never, are just old defense mechanisms that came from growing up in a totally screwed up environment? That's what you developed. Okay. I was doing the best that I could to try and deal with an untenable situation.
Yeah.
Okay, there's an intelligence that's running underneath,
Hmm.
and like to stand on that ground, say I'm messed up, I'm broken, I have this, I'm that, I was diagnosed with this,
Yes. All the
but
things.
like I am, and let's look at what is so that I can shift things that are not serving my highest and greatest good.
I know I have a statement that I came up with in the shamanic sound healing training I've been doing. I am a light being on the planet at this time, having a human experience, and I am in service to the light and people remembering who they
Yeah,
are as light
yeah.
beings. What would yours be?
Oh man, I would, yeah.
So
It's
good.
quite similar actually. That I have a growing connection with my I amness,
Yeah, yeah,
and that my way of being is also to help others to see theirs and remember
yeah.
theirs.
We're not broken.
And this, like, for us to choose to come here and like do earth school, that is a badass decision
It is.
because
Mhm.
this is high level class or school to try
Yeah,
and
and I
integrate
from
all this stuff. Like, so
Mhm.
way to go.
Yes, you too, brother. From what I hear, the angels really adore us because it's really something that we're down here working this out.
Yeah.
Down here,
Dealing
over
with
here, wherever we
you
are.
know, everything from the depths of despair to like bliss and everything in between, and it can change in 10 minutes. That's pretty challenging.
Yes.
So perspective, my perspective just keeps like, even if like something very hard comes up, I'm kind of like, cool.
Yeah. Let's dig
Something's
in.
ready to be like released instead of like, oh my God, why am I feeling this way? Yeah, just like roll with it.
What's this next edge?
Yeah. Okay,
All
I
right.
gotta go.
I know you do. So thank you so much for joining me. And for those of you who came to listen to this podcast, thank you so much. I'm Dr. Suzy Harris. This is my podcast, Next Seven, and we are on a mission to help you remember who
Yes.
you are as a light being.
And Susie, I have more energy now than when we started.
Truth. Me too.
So that is a sign of a healthy symbiosis.
Good. So
So
you and I are not parasiting on each
you're
other.
not a parasite to me.
Right on. I'm so glad to know it.
I hope that makes your day.
I feel so good. All right, love.
All right.
Enjoy the rest of your day.
Yeah, you too.
See you later.
Take care.
Thank you so much for tuning in to Next 7 with Dr. Suzy Harris. We hope you enjoyed today's conversation. Please stay connected with us through social media for updates and behind-the-scenes content. And don't forget to like us on YouTube and Facebook and share us with your friends and family. Be sure to subscribe so you never miss an episode.